All right. So for the last 3 days, I sat, I watched, I listened, and I saw. I saw the comments, I saw the football, I saw the highs, the lows. I saw our under 14s play. And I am not one to ever talk about the youths because I think the youths are the future. We have to support them as much as possible. And I think we need to set them up for success. Were they set up for success in this tournament? I don't think so. But in saying all of that, they were very close to qualifying for the next round. Unfortunately, that position went to Bermuda as best second place. So our tournament has come to an end. A lot of questions will be asked. 3 games, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw, 4 points out of 9. Not bad, honestly, knowing that we scored 6 goals and I think conceded, I can't remember how much we conceded, but it was quite a bit, I think, also. But knowing that we scored 6 goals is something we haven't done in a long time, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. So again, I'm not here to critique the team. I want to say that there was definitely some standout players and really hoping that they are a part of the bigger plan of the TTFA moving forward, because these are under 14. So let me say these guys are 13. The next 2 and 3 World Cup campaigns, these are our guys. So I hope that we have a plan in place to not wait until a month before a tournament again and then be looking for players. Of course, there would always be the conversation about which players should be there. I was one who heavily critiqued the coach for his choices, but again, I guess I could understand it because a lot of players came from one team. We know it is well documented, and he probably was looking for a team that gelled already, and that was probably the quickest way to get it. So at the end of the day, people always say coaches live and die by their decisions, and to be fair, I think he did a decent job with the limited time that he had. So in saying that, Coach Boyce had some comments, I guess, at the end. I'm taking this information off of the TTFA page, and yeah, let's read through. It's a bit of a long document, so I really hope that you all stay and stick with me as we talk it through. So Trinidad and Tobago under 14 boys ended their CFU U-14 Challenge Series campaign on a winning note in Punta Cana, defeating French Guiana 4-1. Jair Nanton scored twice in the 14th and 28th minute, while Jake Correa stuck in the 27th, and Zayden Tinto added the 4th in the 44th minute. The result took Trinidad and Tobago to 4 points from their 3 matches after an opening draw against Puerto Rico, which I think we should have won, by the way, and a 4-1 defeat to Haiti. Despite Wednesday's victory, TNT did not advance, with Bermuda progressing as the best second place team. Kind of mentioned that just now. Head coach Randolph Boyce said that the players went into the French Guiana match knowing exactly what was required in terms of goal difference. Today we basically set them some KPIs in terms of what we looked at in the group, and we set a target in terms of how much we probably needed to score to be able to get into the second round, Boyce said. So definitely Boyce did some homework, and respect Coach Boyce. For us, it would have been like 5 or 6 goals. We conceded 1, so we had to add another onto it. We started off nicely in terms of chasing down the target, and then we fell short of the target. Yeah, I honestly thought we needed some more goals also. In this game, I think we should have had at least a +5 goal difference. Unfortunate. At the time, we were hoping it would still be enough to get us through to the next round based on other results. We had to depend on the Dominican Republic beating Bermuda by 2 clear goals. Again, for Trinidad and Tobago fan, we've always been in this position as of recently, always hoping and always looking for other results to go our way. For Boyce, however, the tournament was always about much more than simply whether Trinidad and Tobago advanced. He said one of the biggest areas of focus throughout the competition was helping the players understand their own performances and make better decisions on the field. We kept motivating them and encouraging them about the positive things they have been doing, Boyce said. We had the opportunity to review the games back on the television, rewind the game, pause it, point out positives and negatives, and they were taking it in good light. Now they had an opportunity to actually see it for themselves, because sometimes when you are telling them something, they tend to say, nah, that wasn't me. It's youth players, yeah, you had to expect that. Adults do that also. Nah, that wasn't me. So now they had the opportunity to see it for themselves. Boyce identified decision making as one of the major areas which the group must continue to improve. The biggest area where we need to improve is decision making, knowing our options and which one of the options is the better one to pick at the point in time, he said. Young players, they will grow, and the more game time they have, the more on the ball time that they have, they will get that. I think they have grown a lot through this tournament. We have seen the growth every day. We have seen the step in the right direction. The progress, he said, was not limited to what happened during the matches. Each day the squad went through mobilization and stretching sessions, while the technical staff also conducted classroom work using the blackboard and video. Each morning they would have to do the mobilization, the stretches and so on, and we saw a better sense of growth towards what we want from them, Boyce explained. Every day they would have a technical session on the blackboard and on the television. The next step, he said, is to place greater emphasis on the individual development of each player. What we need to do and what we will do is structure an individual plan for each player, because every player has different strengths and weaknesses, Boyce said. We need to identify that for them. They will train as normal, but they will also be able to work in specific areas to come up to a level that we want them to come up to. The beautiful thing about it is that some of them are identifying those things for themselves. Boyce therefore described the tournament as a positive experience, even though he understands that many supporters will naturally judge the team by wins, losses, and draws. I think the tournament is a plus, he said. As a country, we tend to look at wins, loss, and draw. But the format of the competition by CFU and FIFA is more developmental. One feature he particularly welcomed was the tournament regulation, which requires each fit player to receive a minimum amount of playing time. That's actually a good point that most people didn't realize, because they were expecting certain players to be on the field at all the times. I was looking at the comments and they were just calling for certain names, but as a developmental tournament, you try to give all players some level of time. So I tend to agree with that. One of the things people don't know much about is how they structure the tournament, where everyone has to play 70 minutes, Boyce explained. Each player must complete 70 minutes, otherwise you may be disqualified, may be fined points, or may be stripped depending on the CFU committee and the decision they make once the player is healthy and not injured. It is interesting and I like it because it means development will be taking place. Boyce believes the regulation prevents young players from being brought to tournaments only to spend most of the time on the bench because a coach is focused solely on results. Otherwise, you could bring a player and the player might get 15 minutes or 20 minutes because you are fighting to win and you forgot about the development of the player, he said. So this format is something I think we could even introduce into Trinidad and Tobago to encourage development. It might be a task on the administration side to keep track of the minutes they accumulate, but I think it was nice. Looking back at Trinidad and Tobago's opening encounter against Puerto Rico, Boyce felt the team produced a strong performance and displayed many of the characteristics the staff wants to develop. During the first game, we played a really good game, he said. We want them to play in the manner in which they played, with the high tempo, because we want to see their strengths and their weaknesses. We want to see what our faults are. We want to see what we have to correct at this developmental stage so we know what we have to come back and work on. Boyce said that being placed in a difficult group was also important for exposing the young players to the standard required internationally. I'm glad that the group we were in was a tough group, he said. If you go and play in an easy group and you win, to me, that is a false positive and we won't learn much. We need to see where the gap is and then how to go and close the gap and what to do to close the gap. He acknowledged that this developmental approach can sometimes be at odds with the expectation of supporters who naturally want to see national teams win. That is a different thing from my mindset to a spectator's mindset, to a supporter mindset and someone who is patriotic about Trinidad and Tobago football, Boyce said. Their main focus, even if it's U14, U17 or U20, is on the win and where you finish, not necessarily on the well-being and the development of the player. So there are different perspectives. On the Puerto Rico match specifically, Boyce felt there was very little separating the teams. I think that game could have gone anyway. It could have gone in our favor, but unfortunately we didn't get a victory. We got a draw, he said. I think it was a fair, balanced game. Puerto Rico is a good side. The 4-1 defeat against Haiti provided a different type of lesson. Boyce said he deliberately avoided being overly critical of the players after that match because many of the goals came from individual mistakes, which are part of the learning process at this age. The Haiti game, I wasn't too critical on the players or coming down on them or anything like that, he said. We had too many individual mistakes, but we reviewed the game, pointed out the mistakes and showed them. Nobody goes out to play to make a mistake. Mistakes happen and they are in the developmental stage. He felt that the final score did not entirely reflect the possibilities within the match. We believe that if we didn't make so many mistakes, especially so early in the game could have been a closer finish, Boyce said. We also had two really nice, clear opportunities in the game that we didn't take. Boyce was complimentary of Haiti's developmental program and said that there are lessons Trinidad and Tobago can take from what other countries in the region is doing. Haiti is a nice developed team, they are doing something good there with the development that we could take note of, he said. We had conversations with all the teams in terms of the management and staff. We had conversations with all of them to find out how they do things and to learn from it, because this is what the tournament is for, learning from each other. He said the Trinidad staff intends to take some of those lessons back home and make adjustments to the program. We will definitely be doing some things differently and adding some things, Boyce said. And I know we will have the support on the back end to be able to do things differently, just as we need the backing of the other coaches, the clubs, and the school. Boyce returned repeatedly to what he sees as one of the central challenges facing youth football: finding the correct balance between winning and developing players. Everyone keeps chasing the W and not the development, he says. So it is between winning and development where players have to decide where they want to be. No matter the age group, it can be 9, it can be 8, it can be 10. Sometimes the focus is on winning rather than development. But that is a different perspective and probably a different conversation for another time. From a playing standpoint, Boyce said the staff deliberately asked the U14s to adopt an aggressive high-pressing style throughout the competition. And to be fair, especially in the French Guiana game and the Puerto Rico game, we saw high press. Maybe we should have adjusted our tactics for Haiti, but again, this is all in hindsight. We chose to play in a high press way because we want to get them playing that way at an international level, he said. When they become comfortable with that, we will know that there are different methods and different ways to play at different times, different phases and different moments of the game. And we will introduce them to that as they go further. The first priority, however, is raising the overall speed and intensity of Trinidad and Tobago's youth football. Nothing wrong with that, coach. I could understand that. We want to bring up the energy level and the way that we play, Boyce said. We play too laid back and too slow sometimes. So we want to change the culture a little bit and let the culture be aggressive and let the culture be about playing a little faster. If you want to play fast, you have to think faster. You have to make your decisions faster. Speed of thought, speed of play, speed of decision making, speed of everything, Boyce added. That once the players become comfortable operating at that tempo, they can then learn how to manage different phases of a match and recognize when to slow the game down. If you want to reach that level, then we could understand the different moments when we need to slow down and those kind of things, he said. But first, we have to know that we can reach somewhere. For that reason, even the heavy defeat to Haiti was something Boyce considered valuable. The Haiti game was a nice eye-opener, he said. It showed us a lot of faults that we have. So now we know what to go back and try to tighten up on, what areas to work in, and hopefully if we meet them again, we can have a closer game and get a victory. For Boyce, the overall outcome from Punta Cana was therefore measured not only in 4 points and 1 victory, but also in what the players and staff were able to learn. All in all, it was a good experience for the boys, a good experience for the staff, and a good experience for the member association as well, he said. Now we see how we push forward from here. Okay, and I tend to agree this is more developmental at this stage, getting our boys to play at a higher level, getting our boys to play at a faster level, as Coach Boyce said. However, I still had some reservations about what we did with the Haiti game, but again, that's just me. And he made a good point at the end. And there's also the elephant in the room that nobody would really speak about. We didn't set these players up for success. We knew about this tournament in November 2025. We put together a team in June or July for this, which is in August, right? So that is definitely one area we could work on. And now, what is the next step? Where do we go from here with these youths, as I mentioned in the start of the video? Because these youngsters are just a small group, plenty from one club, as I mentioned. 18 players chosen here, but we have possibly even 100 kids. We had a youth league that played, a national youth league that played. So we have youngsters. What do we do from here? What system do we have in place? What tournament? What and I'm not talking about the SSFL because not everybody will play in that. What national setup do we have for them? Do we now take these players and put them into a high performance and keep working constantly with them? Because there is quality. As I mentioned, there were at least 3 or 4 standout players in this group of 18. So if we continue finding other standout players, and this is local, obviously they are foreign-based youngsters. I know of a couple foreign-based youngsters who would like to come into the team also. And we start building, because, and we like to say it, this is what Morocco did, this is what Spain did, this is what bigger teams do. And they have their top coaches working with these groups and working with them progressively. Now the onus is really on TTFA to see what we do moving forward. Do we keep Coach Boyce at this level and working with these boys? I know we have a U-17 program coming. Coach Boyce is no longer there, so whoever the new coach is, do we stick with Coach Marvin at the U-20 level? When do they start training? U-17 tournament coming up. We eventually would have a U-20 tournament coming up again. These are questions that we really need to get answers to see continuity in the football, because we need to have football playing. I'm not even talking about top level football right now, because nobody knows what is going on with that, or nothing is being said about that. But at the young or the youth levels, we definitely need to have some continuity. So limited resources, limited time, limited results, but all in all, we appreciate what the youths did. We appreciate Coach Boyce and his staff for taking up the mantle and fighting the fight, and thanks for giving us a win and a draw, giving us 4 points, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. No fault of your own, but we continue fighting, we continue pushing, we continue supporting Trinidad and Tobago football. So again, like, share, comment, subscribe as we continue to build the fan base for Trinidad and Tobago football, because we need to continue growing, we need to continue getting better. Looking forward to talking in the comments.